Welcome to the East Lyme Board of Selectmen meeting of October 2nd. We'll call the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome. Any additional agenda or consent calendar items? I don't believe we have. Mr. Nickerson is traveling this evening, and Mr. Wilson is unable to attend. So we have the four of us. Then the next item would be delegations. Would anybody like?
There is an additional.
What?
There is an additional.
Oh, there is?
I'm sorry, yeah.
What did I miss?
On the amended?
Yeah, you're gonna add something to the agenda.
Well, we have an amended agenda with 2H. Is that what you're referring to?
No, we're adding item 2I. Your draft motions.
I don't. Wait, did I
Oh,
miss something?
carryover of reimbursable
Yeah.
funds.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
okay.
was this afternoon when I
Yes,
was out.
that's
Okay.
it.
Oh, for Attorney Morris, okay.
Okay.
All right,
Fire
so
marshal.
I'm sorry, I missed that. So the
All right.
carryover of reimbursable funds for emergency management. Is there a motion to add this under 2I?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone? Aye? Anyone opposed? Are we 4-0? Okay. I'm sorry, thank you, Darlene. Okay. So the next item then we have is delegations. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak to the board under public delegations? Mr. Mingo, are you shaking your head that you would like to do so, sir? You have the floor.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Do you know what my address is? Or do you
I
want me
do.
to give it to you?
Thank you.
I come before you here tonight to say something that should have been said a long time ago. I'm going to start by giving you two words to ponder, and one of them is genocide, environmental genocide, and the other one is extortion. Just keep that in the back of your mind. But I'm going to go back to a comment that apparently Mr. Torrance made at a public meeting here recently that said some meddling individual called the Army Corps of Engineers. Well, I'm that meddling individual. Okay, I was on the Wetlands Commission, and I'm the one that called Army Corps of Engineers, and he knows it, because I told him so in a deposition. But I'm going to go back to when meddling town employees stuck their nose in wetland business, and we allowed a crossing through the wetlands on Mosterway Road, which according to environmental regulations or wetland regulations never should have happened. Because the regulations very clearly state if there's a viable alternative, you do not disturb the wetlands. And quite frankly, the viable alternative was a road that already existed. There was an argument about road safety. The Wetlands Agency is an orphan agency in this town. It's the only commission or agency that does not have an attorney present. For some strange reason, and I could never understand why, yet we're being sued left and right. Mr. Torrance has cost this town a small fortune in litigation which never ever should have happened. Never in a million years. Because quite frankly, road safety is not in the purview of the Wetlands Commission. Had we an attorney here who knew what they were doing, they would have said that's strictly a matter for Planning Commission. So what did we do? We allowed him to cross the wetlands, which to this day has never been finished. He subsequently has sued the town, gotten quite a bit of money out of us. That project has never been finished. There was tons of muddy water that entered Latimer Brook because of the mistakes that he made there. There's a man who dug a legal pond of over 2 acres, which required a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers to begin with, and then when the town made him fill it, they required a permit from the DEP and the Army Corps of Engineers to refill it, and that never happened. This is your town employees. Reminds me of Mr. Pascalini, who walked away with $750,000 because he can't win a football game. So we have some employees that left the town. They should have paid dearly for what they did. I'm just going to let it go at that. The second question I'm gonna have is this deal, it's a wedding between a couple of people for the town to go out and buy some useless property, as far as I'm concerned. If you're gonna buy some open space, I'll show you what open space you should buy, but this isn't one of them. I have a question for Mr. Ellis. He has a piece of property up there that the Woodman Trust owns in the town of Waterford. In order for him to get to it, he has to come through East Lyme. Now, is he gonna put all kinds of caveats on this deed, saying he has the right to pass and repass over this property that he wants the town to buy? They went through the wetlands to cut wood. As far as I'm concerned, I voted against it, right across the headwaters of the Niantic River, just so he could take some wood out of there. To me, that was wrong. I voted against that. The Wetlands Commission should never, ever enter into a contract with any developer without an attorney sitting there that understands wetland laws, because we have paid dearly for the mistakes that are made in the past. I can't, of all the 50 years I've been involved, the Water and Sewer Commission has had an attorney present practically every meeting that I have gone to. Most of the time they're unneeded, but he sits there at a tune of $250 an hour. And I always say something, did you get a Mercedes tonight? He does his job. But the Wetlands Commission is an orphan agency that we allow contractors to come in there, and the staff in town runs ragged. And that's what happened with Masterway Road. The town is just to blame, just as much to blame for what it's cost this town in litigation because of the fact that we allowed the Wetlands Agency to ignore the wetland regulations, and that's what happened in that case. That's the reason why I call Army Corps of Engineers. I have a question, I don't know if I brought this up, let me see. Oh, I wanna know who's going to stop me if I take my granddaughter to Darrell's Pond and stand on Masterway Road and throw a fishing line in there. I wanna know who's gonna stop me. It's a totally unenforceable regulation as far as I'm concerned. I don't understand they're gonna have to bring a civil action against me. I guess they wanna bring it against my granddaughter for fishing there, I don't know. But that's no reason to buy the property. The other point I'm gonna make is Mr. Torrance has two parcels up there. He split the parcels in half. Instead of coming to the Wetland Agency for permit for both parcels, he split them in half. The reason why? To keep the Army Corps of Engineers out of this process. So he's still gonna end up with a piece of property up there that he can build affordable housing on. I guess, I don't think he's putting both parcels up for grabs, I don't know. But I don't understand how the town would even consider spending a dime. And my understanding is this property up there is in foreclosure. Mr. Harney's property, who bought a pig in the poke when he bought it and was hoping that Route 11 was gonna come through and he was gonna get rich. So we're gonna bail him out of a bad investment. And I think the same thing holds true for Mr. Torrance. It's not up to the taxpayers to bail these people out. I would tell them to go pound sand, personally. I hope you bring it to a town meeting, because it's never gonna pass.
Thank you, Mr. Mingo. Anyone else like to speak under public delegations? Okay. Hearing none, the next item would be the approval of minutes for the regular meeting of September 18th, 2013.
I move to approve the minutes of the meeting of September 18th, 2013 as submitted.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second?
Second, Ms. Hardy. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone oppose or abstain? Motion carries. Next item would be the consent calendar.
Move to approve the consent calendar for the meeting of October 2nd, 2013 in the amount of $1,362.14.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Cheeseman. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstain? Motion carries. The first item under new business this evening is checking of the indices. This is something that is an annual request. Attorney William Willits has been historically the one who examines these indices of the land record for the calendar year 2011 in accordance with Connecticut General Statute 7-14. He's been performing this task for over 25 years, and this year, the fee that he is asking for is $2,000, which is a budgeted amount. Is there a motion?
Move to appoint Attorney William Willets, Jr. of 216 Broad Street, New London, Connecticut, to examine the indices of the land records for the calendar year 2011 in accordance with Connecticut General Statute, Section 7-14.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Ms. Cheeseman, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstained? Motion carries. The next two items are somewhat linked. It's the
Appointment?
It's easy for you to say.
yeah. This is an appointment for the Senior Center Director, Ms. Wilson, as a Title VI Coordinator for the Senior Center. This was brought about because we got two senior vans up there, one of which was a van that we purchased and another we got a grant. And it is the one that has the grant that requires this paperwork, although we've had this for the last few years. So in order to be in compliance, we need a coordinator, a senior, the Title VI coordinator has to be appointed. And then we have a policy that we have to have that we need to approve the Title VI policy. Both of these items, the appointment of Kathy Wilson and the policy, were approved by the Commission of Aging and recommended to us from them. So I don't know if you need to have any more information, but in your packet you do have the town policy statement, and then the process, and then any particular forms that may be needed. There's some examples of those forms in here that will be part of this record.
I will make a motion to appoint Senior Center Director
Kathy Wilson.
Kathy Williams as Title VI Coordinator for Senior Center, or actually, move to appoint Kathy Wilson of 224 Ledyard Street, New London, Connecticut, to serve as the Title VI Coordinator for the Senior Center.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. And then the policy. The policy lists, it ensures that the senior center is committed to existing, that no person is excluded from participation, denied benefit, or otherwise subject to discrimination under the base of race, color, national origin, sex, age, or disability. It talks about the senior center as a recipient of this federal financial assistance, and related activities and regulations. It talks about any person who believes they're subject to discrimination has the right to file a complaint. As I said, those forms are included. And if they request additional information in the town senior center, the request should be, or complaint in writing should go to either Renee Fecto, who is the current resource officer here, or Kathy Wilson, who is now the Title VI coordinator. That is a brief summary of where we are with this item.
Move to approve the adoption of Title VI policy statement as attached.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Hardy, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Item 2D, the ratification of budget transfers. Our finance director is here. Should we have any questions? These are various transfers within departmental budgets that are necessary primarily due to storm activity during Sandy and Nemo. We were hopeful to receive the FEMA funding in the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2013. But that window, the 60-day window which allows us to act post the fiscal year, has expired. And the documentation, therefore, that you have in your packet for these transfers in the amount of $133,435.80 includes the account number, description, et cetera, and that is here. what will happen is we expect the FEMA money to come in any time, and instead of using it as an offset for these transfers in the fiscal year that they were incurred, it will be used as an additional revenue in the coming year. So have any specific questions, Ms. Johnson, we'll be happy to answer. Sir?
And on the page for the budget transfers, the very bottom, it says, reason for transfer for the fleet fuel and vehicle maintenance and engineering. It says excessive expenditures from Storm Sandy and our last line was cut off.
It's on the other side, Kevin.
Oh, it is?
And Nemo,
Oh, Nemo.
for which we have not yet received the FEMA reimbursement.
I knew that, Holly. I was just trying to see
You-
if
it was
Anna
a
was gonna be
quiz,
able
yeah.
to, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Ms. Johnson, for that clarification. We going to vote on this? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
We
didn't-
we need a motion.
I haven't
Oh, I
put the
thought we had a
motion.
motion.
No.
Oh, we had a question, not a
Yeah,
motion.
yeah.
Forgive me. I'm glad you keep me on track.
Okay, move the following. Move to ratify departmental transfers in the amount of $133,435.80 processed for fiscal year end June 30th, 2013, and to forward to the Board of Finance for their approval.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Cheeseman. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The next item is an end-of-year contingency transfer. This is, outlines the fact that we budget for storm materials and supplies. We use a 3-year historical average. And as you know, we had 2 major storms during the last 2012-13 fiscal year, inclusive of this, the hurricane and the winter storm. We use the account for various expenditures, and we're hopeful to receive FEMA funding again, so that we're gonna ask for a transfer from contingency to cover some of these costs. And the contingency current balance is 108,419. This is from the contingency line that we put in for emergency items. That would be 108,419 less the 53 would be the final tally for the year end, 6/30/2013.
I'll move to approve a transfer in the amount of $53,966.70 from account 3-01-01-120-200-500 contingency to 3-01-30-30-317-300-440 store materials and forward to the Board of Finance for approval.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Hardy?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
So this is money that you could not find by making the kind of departmental transfers you did, and so we've made up the balance by drawing from contingency. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Johnson's answer was yes to that question. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or abstained? Motion carries. And the next item is a special appropriation for $1,260 to continue the curator program for the Smith Harris House. I had a offline discussion with the chairman of the Smith Harris Commission, who indicates that that curator has been a wonderful success, and that the Friends have approved this is an additional $1,260 for them to continue it for another period of time, which kind of is helping everybody out, the commission and the public. And in order to continue that, we need to appropriate the money in to the department from the Friends, and that's what this request is here for you.
Okay.
Mr. Lukowski is here if we'd like any specific questions.
One question, Paul, in the appropriation request, it says $1,260, but then here it says, never mind, we're all set. It says 1,170 and it does break it down a little more, so.
I think it's 1170 and 90 to two
Okay.
different accounts, because one is the payment of the salary, the other is the Medicare and the, so instead of just saying there, we're breaking it
Yeah.
into those 2 line items.
But here it says 1,260 and 90, and then here it says 1,170 and 90. I didn't know which one. See, 1260.
Well, the
90.
action needed in the agenda does say 1260 and 90. So the total number you need, Gary, is 1260? So
Okay,
it would be the 1170
70 plus the 90.
and 90.
Okay. I'll move
So
to,
Darlene wants me to make sure I say Darlene was correct in this.
okay.
Thank you.
Move to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $1,260 in the 2013-2014 budget as follows. $1,170 in Department 134 Smith Harris Commission to account 01-01-134-100-415 Museum Curator, and $90 to account 01-01-114-100-121 FICA Medicare, and forward to the Board of Finance for their approval.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second?
Second, Ms. Hardy. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I notice a little note, since this amount exceeds the 10% budget amount, this require a town meeting in your, okay. But just confirming that, so we will schedule that at some appropriate time.
Later on, when we have another item.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you. And this was money that Smith Commission raised, but we have to appropriate it as a budgetary.
Comes from the Friends of
Right,
Smith Harris
House,
which is
right.
the nonprofit arm
Right.
of the Smith Harris Commission, so
Okay.
it has to go in now.
Through the budget process,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Further discussion? So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. The next item, you have a letter from the representative, advisory board to the Southeastern Connecticut Water Authority. The appointment terms are up. The representative advisory board chair, Mr. Callahan, has indicated that we have to take this action. I am a member of that, and would like to continue as that keeps us in connection with the water project. And I believe we have Carol Russell of 4 Bramble Bush Drive, Niantic, who is a member of the Water and Sewer Commission, has indicated an interest in doing this as well.
Make a motion to appoint the following to the Southeastern Connecticut Water Authority: Paul M. Formica, 22A Bush Hill Road, Niantic, Connecticut, and Carol Russell, 4 Bramble Bush Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve through August 31st, 2015.
That should read to the Southeastern Connecticut Water Authority Regional Advisory Board. So there is a separate SQA board that would not be appointed to.
Okay. Amend the motion as indicated by Mr.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
Ms. Cheeseman, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone oppose or abstain? Thank you. The next item is a report from the special meeting of October 2nd, 2013, an executive session regarding the proposed land acquisition and possible board action. As you recall, this was an item that was brought to the board's attention during the public portion of the last Board of Selectmen meeting, and it raised a significant number of questions that were discussed in executive session. I don't know if anyone would like to comment on this. It seems that we would need more information. So, shall I just continue? It was suggested to request more information from the Woodsman's Land Trust regarding the details of what he's proposing, because it was somewhat unclear. Is that a fair characterization?
Right. I'll make a motion to request council to draft a letter to Woodsman Land Trust requesting clarification of the land acquisition proposal.
Second?
Motion is made, seconded by Ms. Hardy. Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion is 4-0. Next item is the item we added to the agenda, which is the carryover of reimbursable funds. On behalf of the Emergency Operations Center, there's a $1,451.18 that is is being requested to be carried over for electrical work for the 3 generators that we own that provide backup power for the radio frequencies in town. Mr. Morris is here if you have any specific questions in that. This came in late today, so I must be honest with you and tell you that I don't know precisely what this is for in terms of that, so Mr. Morris may want to come up and explain to us quickly what that is. But this money is from a special appropriation approved by the Board of Selectmen, this board, on June 5th for electrical work, and we're asking it to go over, right, Ms. Johnson, is that?
What happened was that thinking the money was encumbered, it was not, so we ran out of that window in order to get an electrician to do the work where they couldn't, where they were all so busy, so we ran out of time and I didn't realize it.
Okay.
So, that's all. It was all part of the original grant money that was allotted to do that, but with everybody so busy,
Does this have to do with the 60-day window at the end of the fiscal year? We're beyond the 60-day window, and that's why, so it was in the previous budget, and now, because we're extended beyond that, we need to appropriate it into this fiscal year. Okay. All right. So the money's there. All right. Thank you.
Okay. I'll move to approve the carryover of the remaining balance of $1,451.18 from the 2012-13 fiscal year to account number 01-70-725-224-006 NESIP equipment in the 2013-2014 to complete the electrical work for the 3 generators already purchased from this grant allocation to provide backup power for direction and control radio frequencies during an incident at the Millstone Nuclear Power Station, and forward to the Board of Finance for their approval.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second?
Second, Ms. Cheeseman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone oppose or abstain? Motion carries. The next item, under unfinished business, we talked at some length about the designation of the Veteran Service Contact Person. I talked to you last meeting. This is by, state statute calling for this person to be so designated by October 1st of this year. And we did get a presentation by Commissioner Schwartz from to the Council of Governments outlining a number of reasons that this was put forth. It was most specifically for a liaison from our community to the Commission and the Connecticut Department of Veterans Affairs, and that's the reason. And I have a number in my office that Ms. Schwartz handed out that day at the COG meeting that we simply would have. Most often, the person who is so designated would just pass through the information and do it. So we've talked to a number of folks about being a volunteer. It requires some training sessions for the designated person. At this point in time, we don't really have anybody that has come forward. We have a couple of potential folks that would do it. So I would suggest that we hold off on this appointment until the next meeting, and then just for the record in the minutes say that the first selectman and his distinguished assistant in the office there would act in this capacity until such time as the next meeting.